the word. Why in the world would I want to do that? Well, a characteristic of high achievers, it's not 100%, but I believe the preponderance, is that they have a very clear vision of what they're trying to accomplish. We often talk about it. How many times have you heard really successful people say, something like this? When I first started, I didn't have a lot of sales training, didn't have a lot of experience, no money in the bank, but I had a dream. I could see myself. When I found this profession, when I found this business, I can see myself doing well in this business. And I started dreaming about what I was going to do once I made it. What kind of car I was going to get. My spouse and I would spend the weekends driving around rich people's neighborhoods, would fantasize, that's the neighborhood we want to live in. There's how many pillars are going to be up front. There's where we're going to put the pool. We kind of have this thing going on in our mind. Well, you see that house with the pool and the pillars out front in that neighborhood? We built that in our head long before we ever broke ground on it. That was our dream. That was our vision. You ever hear people talk like that? What they're really saying, from my point of view, my particular odd point of view, is that they hypnotized themselves to get that, to achieve that goal. People come to me to stop smoking because they saw themselves as smokers. And there are cases where people try for 20 years, can't stop, try everything under the book. And one day, the man or woman is standing there, and the little 5-year-old looks up and says, "Mommy, Daddy, when can I grow up and be a smoker like you?" And it just, and they put it down and they never touch it again. When you can get information into the subconscious mind, you can often radically change a person's behavior. And these people that dream about the house or the car or the pool or whatever it is they're dreaming about, remember the repetition? They're repetitiously taking a picture and driving it into their subconscious mind. We've talked today about repetition, saying that you could put it on a sound file, repetitiously hear it. You could get rewards and punishments, so you're repetitiously feeling it. You can also repetitiously visualize it. And what that really is, that's nothing more than self-hypnosis. Don't let the word scare you. You say the word, immediately conjures up all kinds of imagery for most people. I happen to believe the average person in this room is already spending about 70% of their waking day in a trance. Anyhow, my job is just to show you how to put it to some good use. You all think I'm kidding, huh? How many of you have ever driven past your exit on I-4? Drive right past the exit, don't even see it, right? You think you were fully conscious when you pulled that stunt? How many times you pull in the driveway at the end of the day, shut off the ignition, and you actually seriously have to sit there and ask yourself, did I stop at that stop sign? How did I get here? Which road did I take then? Was that white road when I went through it? You ever have that experience? You get out of your car, you go into your house, someone's watching TV or one of your kids is playing a video game, totally entranced. You walk in, hey, I'm home. Don't even hear you talking to them. The most common example of a trance is the everyday daydream. And most of you in this room, at some level, are working in an office with other producers. So I got a little test for you. If you want to see how common the trance is, sometime next day or two, again after the weekend's over, if you're in the office making calls and there's at least 4 or 5 other producers in the office with you, put the phone down just for a second or two, stand up and look around the office. These other producers that are in the office. And ask yourself a simple question. How many of these people I'm looking at are fully conscious? And how many of these people right now are in some kind of trance? And you will see that at any given moment, at least 3 out of 10 will be doing this. Staring out into space, eyes wide open, jaw slightly parted, slow, regular breathing, total absence of body motion. The trance is a very, very common state of mind. You can evoke the trance. It's right there all the time. It's right behind you. It's right there all the time. You can actually produce it quite easily and quite quickly. Anybody here think they could never, ever be put into a trance? I need a skeptic. Ma'am, your first name is? Pamela. Can I ask you a simple question? Do you know how to spell the word psychoanalysis? Would you try to spell it for me, please? There you go. Come back here. Oh, no. I just asked you a question that for most people is not located in their conscious memory. That information was in your subconscious mind, and you had to go looking for it. Most of us don't walk around with how to spell psychoanalysis consciously, right? So she tried to keep it there, P-S-C-Y, and then you did it. And then you came back again. Do you remember doing that? You broke eye contact, you look up at the ceiling, got the rest of your letters, came back and looked at me. Do you even remember doing that?
I felt that I was doing it. I needed a picture of writing it up.
Okay, so your eyes were wide open. What were you seeing? Doing it again.
Myself right.
Eyes wide open, not seeing what you're looking at. In other words, you're looking at the ceiling, seeing PS, right? That's not what's there. You're not seeing what you're looking at, correct? Here's what you did. When I forced you to go dive into your subconscious mind for the answer, you went into a brief trance. We all do this. We do it all the time, by the way. You stopped looking at me, looked up at the ceiling, tuned everything out, turned your thoughts inward, found your solution, and came back out to the real world. All you got to do is watch people in the course of normal conversation. We all do this. I do this after 50 years of teaching it. In normal conversation, you will see people lose it, get it back again, drift in and out. If you could add up, if you could literally run around with a stopwatch and clock the amount of time the average person spends in the here and now, as opposed to in that trance state, you'd find that most people spend over half their lives in a trance. It's not an uncommon state of mind. In fact, it's an extremely common state of mind, and most of us waste every minute of it. Most people, for example, had you been staring off into space like that, what most people do when they see someone doing that is they make a noise. You know, say, whoa, 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 yeah. And they say, what were you thinking of? You know, what were you looking at? You know what most people say? Nothing. And they're right. Totally wasting time. Right? Here's an exercise for all of you. This, by the way, this would go far in giving you information about people's buying signals and whether you are getting them involved at a subconscious level. The next time or any time you see a person in a daydream, staring out into space, don't snap them out of it. Sit there, don't say a word, and just look. Just watch it and ask yourself, what am I seeing? What are the eye movements telling me? What's that facial expression telling me? What's that breathing pattern telling me? What's that body language telling me? Just watch it. Just keep quiet and just look for it, because you're going to see it in the sales situation. If you're hitting on the button, if you're where that client needs you to be, if you're talking about their children, for example, as why they should, protecting their children from a future calamity, and you see them stop, freeze up, lean forward, slowly, you got their unconscious mind involved. Sales are a subconscious process. If you're talking about numbers and asset allocation and projections, and you look around and they're doing this, they're not there. Just by learning to recognize the signs of the trance makes you a better salesperson. Now, I'm a hypnotist. I look for it as a business. So, knowing what I know as an experimental psychologist, and since hypnotic suggestion is essentially a random event, what would you folks predict? What percentage of the population would I expect to be average hypnotic subjects? 68%. What percentage would I expect to be good subjects? Really good subjects. The hypnotist's dream. We call them floppers. You may get a chance to see why here. But what about this? Difficult, very difficult, impossible. Most people, 70 to 80% of the population, can be hypnotized to some degree right out of the gate. Practice makes perfect. An average subject, if they practice it, if they did it every day for, let's say 3 weeks, and practice it, they'll move up that curve. You can often see someone that starts out as an average subject and develops and grows into a really good subject, but in a random circumstance like this, here's what I reasonably can predict. 5 to 15 of you in a room of 100 people are going to be good subjects. Since I know that I have a group of 5, roughly over 100 people, how many chairs I put up here? 5 chairs. What the heck? Why did that happen? If I had 200 people, I'd probably have 10 chairs up here. Sometimes I speak to thousands of people. I'll be back in the green room and someone come up, there's 5,000 people out in that conference. Aren't you scared? No! What do you mean? 5,000 people? I can walk out with a piece of cardboard and say, sleep! 20 people are going to fall on the floor. These are my targets. Again, I briefly mentioned this to you. As a hypnotherapist, it's a completely different mindset. I don't care who walks through the door, and they all did, you know what I'm saying? My job was to get that particular individual, regardless of their skills, to be able to utilize the technique to get to where they want to go. But when I'm on a stage, my job is real simple. Find these guys. So I can do a demonstration real quick, get them up and get it done, right? So how do you find really good hypnotic subjects? I'm saying that for a reason, but I just want to emphasize one other thing. If you wanted to be hypnotized, or you think you might be a good hypnotic subject, and you don't end up here in one of these chairs, please don't think that that means you can't be hypnotized. As I said, by definition, most people are average, and there is a practice effect. Every time they do it, the more they do it, they get better and better. Someone who is here now could ultimately end up here. If you want to practice hypnosis or to get the benefits of it or to learn how to do it, and you're not the ones that I choose to be subjects today, please don't despair. Just go home and practice it for a few minutes each day, and you'll get better each time you do it. But for what I got here right out of the gate, I want to find these people. And how do you find the good ones? Why are some people better than others before I get to that? Why do you suppose that top 2.14%? Why do you think they're good subjects? They've been hypnotizing themselves all their lives without calling it that. It's hilarious. Right, I've been doing this for 35 years. Curious as heck when I first started. I did 35 years professionally and a number of years before that quite unprofessionally. And was very curious about it. And I get these great subjects, you know, these phenomenal subjects, and I would ask them, have you ever been hypnotized before? No, I've never been hypnotized. I would have bet the farm I could never be hypnotized, and the world would. But, you know, I was on the wrestling team in college, and I taught myself how to, before a match, I'd get in this frame of mind where I wouldn't feel pain. I was in the zone. Afterwards, it'd be bruises, scratches all over my body. I have no idea where they came from. You know, but when I was there, I was there, and when you had me hypnotized, it was like I was back in those wrestling matches. What that person told me was that they had learned and mastered and practiced self-hypnosis way back in college and never realized that they could use it as a business tool. So some of you have already been doing this all your life. Long-distance runners, extremely religious people, cops, soldiers that are, you know, very good soldiers that are, I don't know why I can't get that word out, that are into implicit obedience. So just because you don't end up here doesn't mean you're a good subject, but for my purposes, I want the good subjects. How do I find good subjects? It ain't rocket science. It's remarkably easy. You do a few simple tests, and at the end of the second test, the really good subjects identify themselves very, very clearly. So, in the next few minutes, I'm going to do those two tests. Before I do them, I just need to make a couple promises. I'm looking for good subjects to bring up here to do a demonstration. The purpose of the demonstration is to show you that these little pictures that you carry inside your head, these little mindsets that you have, I can't see myself at council or I see myself as top of the table, has a lot to do with the way you're going to perform. If you can't see it, you're your own worst enemy. If you got a real clear picture, 9 times out of 10, nothing can stop you. Which would you choose? And if you had the choice of inserting one image or the other, obviously you would choose the productive image. Well, you do. You have a choice as to what you put inside your head. So that's why I'm doing this. And I promise, however, that if I find that you're a good subject and you don't want to be hypnotized, let me know. If, for example, you end up being a good subject, Jim, and I say, would you like to join me? And you don't want to be hypnotized, wave me off, send me away. You know, I'm not going to bring you up here. I'm going to drag you up here kicking and screaming. Don't want you up here unless you want to be, so you don't have to come up. Promise number 2. See, I can't make this promise because John ruined it. If you come up here, I'm not going to embarrass or humiliate you in any way, shape, or form. He ruined that for me this morning, didn't he?
But it's not you. I've never seen you do anything that embarrasses anybody.
It's dramatic as heck, but
Cool, it's not embarrassing.
It's not embarrassing. Like someone said that John said, don't believe him when he says that. It's true. Okay, third promise. If you come up here as one of my subjects, I can pretty well guarantee you're going to be real relaxed when I'm done. One of the side effects of this technique is just a profound sense of relaxation. And it's because, if you observe, the technique involves 2 types of relaxation, mental as well as physical. And the fact is, many of you in this room haven't relaxed in weeks. Some of you, from the minute you open your eyes, you caffeinate yourself, you're plowing through city traffic, worry, you never let it go. And often, people that come out of hypnosis say, that's like I just had a full body massage, haven't been this relaxed in years, this is better than drugs. I mean, you get all kinds of responses. And it is, although I would have no way of knowing. It is a really good feeling. So those are my promises. Don't come up here if you don't want, not going to embarrass you, I really won't, and you're going to be relaxed. Here's how I find my subjects. 2 suggestibility tests. At the end of the second test, we're all going to know who the good subjects are. Each of these tests take 5 minutes or less. Would you all be willing to do it? Sure. Not doing anything else. All right, I dragged you in here. So, would you uncross your feet, uncross your legs, put your feet flat on the floor for me, please. Excellent. Rest your backs comfortably against the backs of the chair. Perfect. Folks, this test is just real simple. It's kind of an initial scanning test. Most people are surprised at how it works. It's called the Comstock test. It's very simple. Just take a minute or two. Let me show you. Make two fists, like so. Perfect. Bring your hands together so your thumbs and your knuckles are touching like this. Rest your arms so they're not in a weird, awkward, or strained position. Anything that's comfortable for you. And then all you gotta do is extend both of your index fingers, make them look like two little goalposts. Not your little fingers, your index fingers. Just like two little goalposts. Perfect. Now close your eyes. I'll show you how this works. I'm going to ask you to concentrate on the tips of your index fingers. Focus your attention on the tips of your index fingers. And simply use your imagination. I'm going to ask you to imagine that you can feel those fingers starting to pull together. Imagine that you can feel those fingers as if they were magnets. As if the tips of your fingers were powerful, attracting magnets. Imagine you can feel the fingers pulling together, moving together, coming together, and if it hasn't happened already, they're going to start pulling closer and closer, closer and closer, until they actually touch. And all I'm going to do is start slowly counting back from 3 down to 1. By the time I reach number 1, if they're not touching already, they will be by then. So feel this. 3. Those fingers now like magnets, drawing together, pulling together. 2. Tugging together, closer and closer. The magnetic attraction getting stronger and stronger, more and more powerful. 3, 2, and 1, all the way together. Beautiful. Would you all look up here, please, for a second? Can I see by show of hands? How many of you got your fingertips all the way together? It looks a little like 68% to me. Any shock? That's the average response. The average person, after 15 to 20 seconds of suggestions, their fingers will start moving. Eventually, they get all the way together. You get all kinds of variations. Some people get no movement at all. 2% get this. And I say there's an opposite direction. The really good subjects comes together closely, dramatically, all the way. Some people halfway, some people 3/4 of the way. The bell curve at work. Why did your fingertips come together? Clearly, there's a mind-body interaction. If you're able to clearly visualize, imagine your fingertips as magnets, if that thought got into your subconscious mind, they started acting like magnets. If you go to a really sad movie and that thought gets in your head, you'll start crying. You go to a really funny movie and that thought gets in your head, you'll start laughing. There's a connection between your mind and your body. And all I'm looking for are the people that have really good connections. So the first test is called the Comstock test. I'm going to show you one other test, known as the hand clasp test. This test tends to filter out the better than average subjects. At the end of this test, there are going to be a number of you that have your hands locked together. At that point, the folks that are really good subjects, have been identified as good subjects, I will invite some of you to join me up here. I brought 5 chairs up. I will invite 5 people to join me. If you don't want to come, if you're not comfortable doing it, again, please feel free, but I'll walk up to each of you and invite you to join me up on stage, those of you who respond to this next test. Fair enough? Let's do it. Uncross your feet and legs, put your feet flat on the floor. Perfect. Resting your backs comfortably against the backs of the chair. Excellent. Again, this is going to be a test of your imagination, test of visualization. I'd like you to take your left hand, turn your left hand palm to the ceiling, just like that. I'm going to ask you to use your imagination. This is all imagination, but I want you to imagine a fairly large, clear capsule filled with super glue in the palm of your hand, and then what I want you to do is take your other hand and just put it on top of it and cover that capsule. Now close your eyes, clasp your hands together, not tightly, but in the palm of your hand, imagine that there is this clear capsule filled with super glue. And here's what's going to happen. I'm going to start slowly counting back from 3 down to 1. And with each number, I'm going to ask you to start squeezing the palms of your hands closer and closer, and your hands tighter and tighter. And at some point, I want you to imagine that you can feel that capsule burst and feel the super glue starting to spread throughout the palms of your hands. And by the time I reach number 1, the super glue will be all spread out through the palm of your hand. Your hands will be glued together. Now take a deep breath, breathing deeply. And as you exhale slowly, start squeezing your hands together. Tighter and tighter. For some people, capsule breaks almost immediately. For some, there's resistance and it hasn't broken yet, but squeeze your hands together. Feel them squeezing together. 2, squeeze them even tighter. And by now, the capsule should have burst or is bursting as we speak. Feel the superglue spreading through the palms of your hands. As you squeeze your hand tighter and tighter, feel that liquid. The chemical reaction sometimes forms some heat, but feel that superglue now spreading through the palms of your hand, around your fingers, tighter and tighter, and you know that superglue sets very, very quickly, so it's beginning to set. And now 1, squeeze even tighter and tighter. Feel the superglue setting, locking your fingers, locking your hands, locking your fingers and locking your hands, and your hands will be fused until I release them. I'm going to count from 1 to 3. When I reach number 3, you can try to pull your hands apart, but you'll discover they are stuck together like glue until I release them. 1, they're sticking tighter and tighter. 2, the super glue is completely set now. Your fingers are locked. The palm of your hand is locked. They are absolutely stuck together. And 1, try to pull your hands apart, but the harder you try, the tighter they stick. The harder you try, the more impossible it becomes. They stick tighter and tighter. The glue continues setting with each passing second, and the harder you try to pull them apart, the tighter they lock together. They absolutely refuse to pull apart until I release them. You can open your eyes and they remain stuck until I release them. Try as hard as you possibly can, and they are locked together. Those of you in the room that have your hands locked together, you would lift up your arms and show me who you are. Isn't that the weirdest thing you've seen so far this week? So, I'm going to choose a few of you, if you would be so kind, to join me up on stage. Madam, you certainly don't have to if you don't want to, but would you like to experience this? Come on up here. The hands will stay locked until I release them. By the way, Jim, would you like to experience this? Why don't you sit in the middle? You'd be a good center or subject for me. I need something locked. Try to have a seat up front. How about someone in the back room? Want to try it? Excellent. 1, 2, 3. I need one more person. That's not working. Want to do it, madam? Step into my office. All right, we've got our subjects. Give them a round of applause. And I'll release you in just a second, I promise. So, you can't continue. Are they really stuck? I know, another bear. There you go. Try it. I promise. Let's see right there. If there's anyone in the room who still has their hands locked together, if you listen to me, I promise I'll release them. If you come past here, please don't knock my, there we go. So I just want to make sure that comes out good. Excellent. Have any of you up here ever been hypnotized before? You have. Not, Jim, hypnotized before? Yeah. Hypnotized before? Not at all? Don't even believe it, right? Would you all do me a favor? I know your hands are stuck together, but stand out there like that. Let me show you something. I have asked these folks to volunteer. They appear to be very good visualizers. They're responding very, very good to suggestion. Once you find people that are good visualizers and they can respond powerfully to suggestion, I want to just show you something. Sleep! 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 Deep sleep. Over that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Dropping down. Deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper. Deeper and deeper sleep. Way down deep. Deeper and more relaxed. Now, every breath's taking you deeper, 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 deeper. Beautiful. And then in the moment when I touch your shoulder, if you feel me touching your shoulder, your hands come totally apart and you just drift down deeper. Your hands as I touch your shoulder coming apart, drifting down deeper. Sleep. Deeper sleep. Deeper sleep. Loosen up. Sleep. Way down deep. Deeper and deeper. More and more relaxed. Sleep. 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 Deeper and deeper. And continue drifting deeper and deeper with each and every breath you take, until I come and speak to you again. I'm going to release the other people, but as I do that, I want you just to drift with every breath you take, deeper and deeper, more and more relaxed. Who still has their hands stuck together? Anyone out there need their hand released? Good. Okay. So you saw me do sort of a filtering technique. Try to find that upper 2.14%. Seem to have succeeded. We've got people that I knew there would be at least 5 statistically. They were very good subjects. These folks seem to fit the bill. So we've got some better than average visualizers up here, and I have asked them to visualize what? Loose, limp, relaxed, deep sleep, relaxing, drifting down deeper and deeper. The image that they're holding in their mind is, what I've been suggesting to them, is for them to become very loose, limp, and relaxed. Let's take a look at the net result of that visualization. The first thing you got to admit, these people are pretty darn relaxed. You know, what they're doing now is that by visualizing relaxation, the tension in the body has disappeared. There is zero tension in their bodies. Do you recall that I made 3 promises? One of which was, whoever comes up here is likely to be more relaxed than they've been in years. Remember the promise? Mental as well as physical relaxation. Well, this is it in real life. Notice just how incredibly relaxed they are. And do you recall I said that the really good subjects, the hypnotist dream, are what we call floppers? Remember I said that? That's why. They get so relaxed, they slide or fall or just drift right out of the chair. They are visualizing their bodies being completely relaxed. The net result of that visualization is total relaxation. A lot of people stop me at this point and say, you know, that's enough for me. If you tell me that I can even do this, I'm going to have at the end of a crazy day, and I can get myself in a state like this, where every muscle in my body is relaxed, I would sleep better, I'd feel better, you know, my tension headaches would disappear. Just teach me this part of it. And there are therapeutic benefits to that. But there's so much more. Want to see some of the rest of it? Okay, I want you all to listen carefully now. Just responding to the sound of my voice, drifting deeper and deeper. For the rest of our session here, you'll find that you respond to the sound of my voice easily, quickly, drifting deeper and deeper each and every time you do it. At the count of 5, eyes wide open, however, sitting up straight in the chair, but still responding to the sound of my voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes wide open, sitting up straight in the chair, feeling wonderful. Round of applause for these folks. I am so sorry you ended up on the floor. I'll make sure that doesn't happen again. Okay. So, you saw me do what is called a rapid induction, where you shock a person. I want you to look at these individuals again and ask yourself, as an observer, I invited you before as salespeople to observe people when you see them in trances and daydreaming. Well, do these people look like they're in a trance to you?
Yeah.
Why? Ironed out facial expression. Very little, if any, extraneous motion. They're not fiddling around, playing with their hair, readjusting the weight. It's called catalepsy. Slow, regular breathing. Very, very good subjects. Sleep, 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 sleep. Way that deep, deeper and deeper. 10 times deeper now. 10 times deeper to sleep. 10, dropping deeper and deeper. 9, deeper and deeper. More and more relaxed. 8, nice, deep, beautiful relaxation. 7, just keep drifting deeper and deeper. 6, 5, 4, all the way down. When I reach number 1 now, drop 10 times deeper. 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep sleep. Deeper and deeper with each and every breath. Beautiful. More and more relaxed. So now we have folks that through practice, never met any of these folks, with the exception of Alexandra, have never met these folks before, so I have no idea what their backgrounds are. But I'm willing to bet if you talk to these people after this presentation, you're going to find that each and every one of these people somewhere along the line has been hypnotizing themselves. They've been doing something for years because they don't get this good first time out of the gate unless they've been doing it for a long time. So now I have some really good visualizers. People that can tap right into their subconscious mind. I say, go see a sad movie, you start crying, a funny movie, you start laughing. Well, what happens if a good visualizer visualizes relaxation? They get profoundly relaxed. What about your emotional state? I made some comments today about talking to people on the phone that can't really see you. All you do is hear the energy in your voice, or whether you're frustrated or not, the speed with which you speak, the tone of your voice communicates all kinds of information. So as a business or a salesperson, would it be valuable to you, would it behoove you to learn to get a little bit more control over your emotions? Wouldn't it be great if you walked into every sales situation, could be able to take a few seconds and kind of build up your confidence, be focused? There's a million ways I could demonstrate this, but the way I typically demonstrate it is by showing emotional control of one emotion. It's fun, it's funny, but it has meaning for all kinds of emotions. So let me tell you what I'm talking about. Deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper, deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. So you're doing beautiful in a moment. However, in a moment, you're going to feel me touch my shoulder. I touch your shoulder, you'll start laughing, laugh, 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 laugh. Funny, 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 very funny, funny. Funniest thing in the whole wide world. Funny, so funny. The harder you laugh, the better you feel. Funny, very funny. Laugh harder, harder, harder you laugh, the better you feel. You're just going to start laughing harder and harder. It becomes funnier and funnier, funnier and funnier, 10 times funnier, 100 times funnier, 100 times funnier, 100 times funnier, 200 times funnier. 200 times funnier. Absolutely. The funniest thing you've ever heard. Funnier. 1,000 times funnier. Yeah, sleep. Deeper sleep. 2 things I want you to gather from that demonstration. First of all, what you saw clearly was genuine laughter. I mean, ha, 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 ha. This isn't somebody play acting. This is someone who was able to kind of reach into themselves, tap into an emotion, and bring that emotion forward. In this particular case, it was laughter. That in and of itself is impressive. What has always impressed me so much more was their ability to shut it down on a drop of a dime. Clap my hands and say sleep, and they turn it off like a light switch. In other words, yes, please catch it. There she goes. That's good. Deeper, deeper. Sleep. She's good. Just leave her there. She's fine. She's fine. Sleep deeply. Deeper and deeper, more and more relaxed. Floppers. Thank you, Lord. Emotional control. How many of you could do this? Only the person showed I'm touching. Laugh. Funniest thing in the world. Very funny. 10 times funnier. 100 times funnier. 1,000 times funnier. No. Sleep. How many of you could do that? Believe me, sir. I know it's crazy. They're fine. Perfectly fine. When you're relaxed, Jerry Lewis used to demonstrate this. When you're that relaxed, nothing gets hurt. Any other questions? All right. Controlling emotions, turning it on and turning it off. Another advantage to learning this kind of technique. Before I move to the next step, are there any questions? Count of 5. All of you again, still responding to the sound of my voice, still very deeply hypnotized with the count of 5. Eyes wide open, feeling fantastic. Back in your chairs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 7 straight chair. Round of applause for these guys. They're great. I promised you wouldn't fall again, and I wouldn't give it to you. I apologize. Please forgive me. You are so beautiful, and I am so sorry. You may recall, I had said that when I did the all-day programs way back in the old day, that I became shocked when I realized that a preponderance of the people that were attending my program were high producers who one would think didn't need the program. Remember that comment? Well, it turns out that when I get hypnotic subjects and start interviewing them afterwards, again, there's often a preponderance of high producers that end up being really good hypnotic subjects. And I happen to know for a fact this young lady was one of the youngest, if not the youngest, partners ever in New York Life, which I think is indicative of fairly high performance, right? And yet here she is, a fantastic hypnotic subject. Well, what's the correlation? I do think one of the tools that she was probably using to become as successful as she has already become and will become, whether she realized it or not, was some form of visualization or self-hypnosis. These folks usually have been doing it to themselves for years, just not realizing what they were doing. And I know that you're very successful at what you do, and I have no idea what drives you and motivates you, but I'm going to ask you a question. Are you typically are at all driven by money?
No.
No, money doesn't motivate you. Does that have any motivational qualities at all to you?
Money?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. How about you? Are you motivated by money?
No.
Oh. Well, I'm not going to be able to do my money demonstration. I'm looking for someone that I would feel, are you motivated by money? Money?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Damn right. I'm going to show you a demonstration I've been doing for about 20 years. And the concept is this. I would talk to a sales group, and I would ask a simple question. How many of you in this sales group think that money motivates people? And most sales group, yeah, you'll raise your hand. And I would make a comment. I would say, well, clearly, money can't be that powerful of a motivator, because if money was this great big motivator, you'd all be executive council. I mean, stop, you'd all be 6 figures. If money was the motivator, really, you'd all be doing 6 figures. Often there are other things that are going on rather than just money. And talk to most sales managers, and they will tell you that money doesn't motivate most people. It has motivational qualities, but not as powerful as you would think. So I'll do a little test. Let's test just how powerful, how motivating money is. And I do apologize. Your first name, sir, is?
John.
Good, John. Hey, relax and sleep. Wait, I think 5, 4, deeper, more, 10 times deeper, 20 times deeper, 30 times deeper, deeper, more and more relaxed, more and more relaxed, more and more relaxed. Listen lip, now stuck. Your hand stuck to your head like super glue. And I'm going to count back from 3 down to 1. When I reach number 1, you'll find you can't remove your hand from your head no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, until I touch your forehead. Hand stuck till I touch your forehead. 3, 2, 1. Try to pull your hand off, John. It just sticks tighter and tighter. In fact, every moment it sticks, it just keeps sticking tighter and tighter and tighter until I release it. You can now open your eyes, sit up straight in the chair, but the hand remains stuck until I touch your forehead. John, would you do me a favor, please? Would you raise your right arm? Would you raise your left arm for me? Try as hard as you can. Everybody's watching, and I'm going to ask you to be as serious as you can about this. Really try. I'll tell you what, I'll give you an advantage. Take that. See if you can pry it off with that hand. Give you some leverage there. John doesn't seem to be able to pull his hand off his head. Is there any super glue involved? Any paralysis? Anybody have that hand tied to his head? Any reason why he can't pull his hand off his head? Well, maybe he's not properly motivated. John, it's going to continue sticking with every second that passes, and I want you to really try, but if you can pull it off, I'll give you $10. I'll tell you what, I'll give you 20. I'll give you $50 if you get your hand off your head.
I need scissors.
You know? No, you don't. I'll give you $100 if you get your hand off your head, John. I'll give you $200, but in fact, the more money I risk, the tighter it sticks. I'll give you $400 if you get your hand, just get your hand off your head for $400. I'll give you $1,000 if you yank your hand off your head. $1,000. I don't have the money, but I'll write you a check. $1,000. And you know something, John? You look really tired. Why don't you sleep? Wait, Andy. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. If money is such a powerful motivator, why didn't this guy pull his hand off his head for $1,000? $1,000. What's going on here? What did you just see? You saw competing ideas. Consciously, you have to assume he wanted $1,000. I mean, it looked like he wanted it, right? Subconsciously, he had bought into an idea. He told himself his hand was stuck. Was his hand stuck? In his head it was. In the real world, was it stuck? Y'all do the same thing. If I pick up that phone, there could be $1 million policy at the other end, but they probably already have an attorney that does it for them. They probably are going to do this. I'm probably going to get rejected. They probably don't need me. Think about how limiting your own thinking process has been and how many times you've done exactly the same thing. Now, I didn't bring it with me, but if you go to my YouTube clips, there's clips of me at the Grand Ole Opry for years. I used to travel around with $2,000 in cash, a wad of $100 bills. And instead of just saying, I'll give you $100, I started peeling off the money. I'll give you $500, put it in your lap. I'll give you $1,000, you pick that money up. I'll give you $2,000, I never lost the money. I did it hundreds of times. Money's not nearly as powerful a motivator, and God bless you guys for knowing that. You know, a lot of salespeople walk around. Remember the fixed stare I was talking about? And I just, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down. And sleep. Deeper and deeper, more and more relaxed, more and more relaxed. More and more relaxed, deeper and deeper, more and more relaxed, all the way down, deeper and deeper, more and more relaxed. Loosen lip. Okay, questions? I'm doing this to try to teach you something. It's kind of visual and it's certainly kind of fascinating, but everything that I'm going to do here, everything I do has an analogy in real life. You folks, forget to ask for referrals. You're not going after high-ticket or high-net-worth clients because you think they wouldn't deal with you. There's all kinds of mental limitations you're putting on yourself that aren't really there. At least test. At least go out and try it. A lot of you be surprised what you're capable of doing. Question, Adam.
What if the money was not big enough for him to get his hair?
Exactly.
I'm sorry?
What if you gave him $1 million? What do you do with it?
Well, I've never risked $1 million because I don't have $1 million to lose. You know what I'm saying? My feeling always was that the only reason I stopped at 2,000 was, number one, I'd be walking out with these stupid bulges in my pocket, and number two, I was traveling all over the country. I was afraid I was going to get rolled someday. So 2,000 was, well, you try it. How about we try it? You got $1 million, we'll use your money to try that test. No, actually, I will answer your question. There is a percentage of subjects, which I was looking for, remember, super subjects, that will do almost anything, to be quite honest with you. Wouldn't matter if it was $1 million. And I could manipulate in a million ways. I'd tell them that it's not $1 million, it's paper. And they'd never pull their hair. There's a million ways that hypnotists can manipulate it. And if you have a subject that's that good, you can have $1 million sitting on that table and they wouldn't get up and pick it up. If you want to know the answer. This percentage at a time, they would all get the money. These guys will get the money half the time. These guys get the money most of the time. Always get the money, never get the money. Always refer to the bell curve. It's a very small percentage of people who are in this super zone. But to answer your question, I've never risked $1 million, but my experience tells me that they wouldn't get the money. Won't know till you actually do it, but that's what it tells me. Did I answer your question?
Okay. You cannot pretend to offer him the $1 million.
Pardon me?
You cannot pretend to offer him the $1 million. No.
He would not take that as pretend. I'd be in court in a flash. Trust me. No, I mean, and I wouldn't risk it. The whole idea was to show that it's real. This is real live money. That it's not something imaginary. I'm going to say the words trust me, which is a horrible thing to say. I could refer to some experiments where the CIA deliberately attempted to produce antisocial and immoral behavior, and by and large were successful with 2.14% of the highly suggestible on the Stanford Hypnotic Suggestibility Scale group. It's been demonstrated that it can be done. People would pull the trigger, people would jump out of windows, people would do things that you would consider antisocial or immoral. I'm never going to do it, but to answer your question, theoretically it can be done. Yes, ma'am.
Have you ever not be able to hypnotize somebody?
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, the average subject certainly doesn't dive into this state of mind first time out.
But that was pretty easy.
I did my job. You know? Everybody eyes wide open, the count of 5, something straight chair, feeling fantastic. Everybody, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something straight chair, eyes wide open. Round of applause for these guys. They're wonderful. And I'm going to ask you to notice one more thing. The hand never came off the head, did it? Even sitting the whole time. I did one thing once, which was as close to disaster as I almost ever came. I used to do a stunt where I'd get a hypnotic subject, and you know the chair where they have the gap, where you can like grab them like this, and I would take it to the subject, and I'd say, hold the chair, sleep, you know, when you wake up, you'll find there's no chair. And the person would get up and they'd walk around, they'd be dragging the chair behind them. And it's funny to watch and stuff like that, you know. And I mean, it's dramatic. And so a crowded room, a little bit more crowded than this, the gentleman drags his chair, I sent him back to his seat, drags his chair back, and he's sitting like where that woman with the cell phone is, about that far away from me. And then I did another stunt, which I'm going to do in a few minutes, but I did it with a little stress ball, a little 3 or 4 ounce stress ball. And the suggestion was that the stress ball weighed 10,000 pounds. And I have no idea what went through my head, but I picked up the stress ball and tossed it at the kid. And the minute it left my hand, I realized, are you out of your mind? You know, because there was a look of sheer terror on his face. This 10,000 pound ball is coming at me. So he dove to avoid the ball and successfully avoided getting hit by the ball. But what fascinated me, he never let go of the chair. And notice that even though he was in that weird position and all that, never let go of the suggestion. That's some subtleties that you begin to notice when you do this often enough. Any other questions before I move forward? You're a great subject. I'll touch your forehead. The money bet is off, and your hand is now free. There you go, John. So, John, if money motivates you so much, and I was offering you whatever it was, $1,000, why didn't you, tell me the truth, why didn't you take your hand off your head and win $1,000?
It was hard.
What was hard about it?
It was stuck.
It wasn't stuck, John.
Yeah, but you said it was stuck, therefore it was stuck.
I said it was stuck. Isn't that odd? I mean, just stop and think about what you're seeing here. Isn't that the oddest thing in some respects that you ever seen? Any other questions? No. No other questions? You want to see a couple other things? Yeah. Okay. What would you like to see? For example, sleep. Wait, in a moment, I'm going to count from number from 1 to 5. When I reach number 5, you can sit up in a chair, you're going to feel wonderful, fantastic in every way, really, really good, better than you felt in weeks. However, about 10 seconds after you wake up, you're going to hear sound coming from your right side. And when you look on your right shoulder, much to your surprise, you're going to see a little 6-inch man standing there in a tuxedo. That's right, little 6-inch man standing on your shoulder in a tuxedo. And not only that, he's singing love songs in your ear. Strangest thing, little 6-inch man singing love songs in your ear at the count of 5, about 10 seconds later, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sit straight in the chair, feeling wonderful. Round of applause for this young lady because she's such a great subject. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Wait, and deep sleep, 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 listen. Are you hypnotized? Please be honest. Do you think you're hypnotized?
Yes.
You are. And why do you think you're hypnotized?
Because I'm doing things that make me sleepy.
Sleepy? But you're awake now? Mm-hmm. Okay, wide awake? And can you hear anything by chance? Is there any noise coming anywhere? Because it seems something like a love song or something. Anything anywhere? Mm-mm. Okay, well, hold that thought because I'll be with you in just one moment, okay? Only the person on the shoulder I'm touching, deep, 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 beautiful. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. When I reach number 5, you're going to wake up completely, sitting up straight in the chair, feeling fantastic, still responding to the sound of my voice. Sometime after you wake up, however, you're going to hear a telephone ring. The instant you hear a telephone ring, you're going to notice the ringing is coming from your left shoe. The ringing is coming from your left shoe. You're going to reach down and answer it, and it's going to be a client on the other end. But, you know, the client is calling you at a really bad time, quite obviously. You're up here, you're really relaxed, you're feeling real good. So what we're going to do is you're going to blow off that client and, you know, Get that client off the phone within 30 seconds or less. When you hear the telephone ring, it's coming from your left shoe. You're going to answer it. You're going to get that client off the phone within 30 seconds or less because they happen to be calling you at a really inconvenient time. Eyes wide open, the count of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up, eyes wide open. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Do you think I could make you do something you didn't want to do?
No.
Okay. Pick any spot you want.
Any spot?
Pick a spot, look at it.
Okay.
Think you can keep your eyes open for 10 seconds?
Yes.
If I gave you $100 for keeping your eyes open for 10 seconds, would that make it even better? I know.
I could win a reward.
I don't have any words to give you. I have to stick with money, but just as an example, okay? Just use an example. Here's the deal. 10 seconds, keep your eyes open. I'll give you $100 if you can do it for 10 seconds.
Okay.
And you need to let me know when to start the 10-second clock, and you do that just by nodding your head to let me know that the 10-second clock has started.
Okay.
Okay, so when I see the head nod, I know the 10 seconds have started.
Okay.
Sleep. Wait, I didn't. I was going to count 5. Whoop. That didn't work out real well. So let's try that again.
Wait, I'm going to do it this time.
Oh, yeah, wait. You take What's that?
He just has to scoot over a little bit.
Someone needs to scoot. Oh, so you can focus on something? Okay, good. Again, you take as long as you need. I just got to be watching for that head nod. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Oh, shoot. Didn't work again. 1, 2, 3, 4, eyes wide open. What happened?
I was faking.
Okay. Well, you know, there is, as I say, in each successive step, I'm going to do my best to actually connect this with a message. My phone is playing with me now. The message is, you got a little battle going on there. You saw right now, what is a classic battle between her conscious mind and her subconscious mind? Consciously, she was clearly trying to stay awake. I mean, she was trying to force herself to stay awake. At the same time, her subconscious mind was responding to a suggestion. Which part of the battle did you see winning out, the conscious or the subconscious mind? Yeah, and that's going to happen. If you can tell yourself, I'm going to council next year, and at the same time, in your subconscious mind, you're telling yourself, I don't know, I'm afraid, I don't think it's going to happen, I'm not that good.
Olympics.
Same thing. Conscious versus subconscious, it's really powerful, it truly is. And what I need to do here is just one thing for 1 second. Who brought their phone? I thought the phone was supposed to be turned off. That phone ringing? Would whoever's phone is ringing please answer it? It's not mine. Somebody's phone's ringing. Alexandra, I think it's yours. Is your phone ringing?
I have my phone.
Well, something's ringing. Would you answer whatever's ringing? Something is ringing. It's not my cell phone. It's got to be something. I think it's your shoe, Alexandra. I think it's your left shoe. That's what it sounds like it's coming from. I should give her $100 just for doing that. It's your shoe, Alexandra. It is. Believe us. Just ain't going to do it, are you? Well, I'm glad I didn't have $100 risked on that, huh? Sleep. Wait. Sleep. And what Alexandria just pointed out beautifully, for I might add, production of suggestion does not mean acceptance of suggestion. In other words, just because she's hypnotized, some part of her didn't want to do that. I try to keep my suggestions as innocent, innocuous, non-threatening, non-sexual, as I possibly can. But if you do something that crosses a line for a person, I don't care how good of a hypnotic subject you are, you're just not going to do it. Had a subject not too long ago, they're good as any of these folks up here, and I gave what is considered a very simple suggestion. Sleep. Okay. Now, I gave what is considered an extremely simple suggestion. I told the subject that they were stuck like glue to the seat of their chair. That's what we call a class 1 suggestion. Not very difficult. And the subject was phenomenal. But they jumped right out of the chair, like I'd never said anything. So, I suggested it again, and they still jumped out of the chair. Well, I moved on with my presentation. At the end, I went and, sought out the subject, and I said, do you remember that thing about the chair? Oh, yeah. I'm curious. You did everything else. What happened with the chair? Well, when I was a kid, some of my friends tricked me and they tied me to a chair and they left me somewhere for a couple hours. Nobody's ever sticking me to a chair again. So I would have no way of knowing that that was in that person's past. You know what I mean? I thought it was just an innocent, funny kind of a thing. For them, it was far from it. I had one person, like Alexander, very good subject, refused to take the shoe off because culturally their mother had told them never take your shoes off in public. Had never heard of such a thing. But that particular young lady wasn't going to do it. So you didn't get to see the demonstration of the answering on the phone. You did, however, get to see a demonstration of a person not necessarily accepting a suggestion that they didn't want to. All right, you're all great subjects, by the way, very, very deep. In fact, let's take a deep breath and go even deeper. Let's drop down even deeper. 5, just let go. 4, sink down deeper and deeper. 3, beautiful, beautiful, more. All the way down. 2, deeper and deeper, more, relax. And 1. Excellent. Now, in just a few moments, at the count of 5, you'll open your eyes, you'll be wide awake, you'll feel phenomenal. Wide awake, you'll feel phenomenal, relax at the count of 5. But you're going to see a water bottle sitting on a chair. You'll see a water bottle sitting on a chair. I want you to listen very carefully. That water bottle weighs 10,000 pounds. That water bottle is fused to that chair. It weighs 10,000 pounds. You'll find you can't lift it, move it, or budget in any way, shape, or form, because that water bottle weighs 10,000 pounds. At the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Eyes wide open. Round of applause for these guys for being such great subjects. And then we're going to start wrapping this all up. John, would you do me a favor? I was looking at John. Yeah. Does say John, right? Would you do me a favor? I can't seem to lift this water bottle. Would you try to lift it for me, please? Give it a shot. And if you use both hands, it might help you out. Just don't hurt yourself. Both hands. Don't strain your back or anything. Don't hurt yourself. You need some help. Jim, would you mind giving him a hand? How about you get right here, he gets right there, get a little leverage going here. If you would just sit right there, just like that, the both of you now. Give it a shot, go. As hard as you can, harder you try, the heavier it gets. Want to give it a shot, see if you can help him? Why don't you kind of, why don't you come to, you lift weights, okay. That's good. Try as hard as you can. See, the question here is how many New York Life reps is it going to take to lift what is essentially a 3-ounce bottle? So I don't want you to get hurt. Stop trying. I don't want you to get hurt. I'll tell you what. Would you help me? Is it Alice? For just a moment, Alice. Everybody stand. Look at Alice. Stand here for just a second. Alice, would you do me a favor, please? Would you just pick that up and hand it to me? Don't hand it to them because you'll kill them, but pick it up and hand it to me. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're very, very, very kind. There you go. John?
Damn, girl, you work out.
Jim? Madam? Try again.
I can do it.
Why can't these people do this? You see, perception versus reality. The perception, 10,000 pounds. The reality, probably 3 ounces. Which part's winning? Perception. Can't qualify for executive council. Reality, put your head to it, you all could. Perception, can't break 6 figures. Reality, like the guy in San Antonio told you, you can all do it. Thank these guys for showing you. If you all have a seat. Are you comfortable? It's a great feeling, isn't it? I'll send you a link for a tape or something and learn how to do it at home alone. Do you folks have any questions for me? Who up here, who's sitting up here, thinks that they are no longer hypnotized? You? Sleep. You don't think you're hypnotized? Wide awake? Sleep. Way down deep. Sleep way down deep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deeper, slowly. Deeper, deeper. More relax. Atta girl. Sleep way down deep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deeper sleep, deeper sleep, deeper sleep. And we're going to make your back stick to the chair. Stuck to the chair like glue. Perfect. Jim, you wanted to be hypnotized. Are you hypnotized? Don't quite know yet, do you? Intuitively, do you think or feel like you are? Very relaxed, which is the most common. I just want you to sleep. Wait, I need to loosen. What would you do? Squeeze. Tighter. When I reach number 1, you'll find you can't let go of that tie. It's stuck like your hand. Can't let go of the tie. 3, 2, 1. Try to let go of that tie. The harder you try, the tighter it locks. Now, would you do me a favor, Jim? Would you take your left arm, raise your left arm up in the air? Would you raise your right arm up in the air for me? Okay, well, we got something going on here, right? tell you what, I'll give you an advantage. See if you can pull it off, try it off with that. Do your best, try your fingers off. So, one part of him wanting to do it, the other part not doing it. All of this is fun. All of this is interesting. All of this hopefully is getting a point across, which is that you can program your subconscious mind, but there is a serious message here. Instead of telling yourself that your hand was stuck to your tie, what if you told yourself you were qualifying for counsel? Instead of telling yourself that you can't pick up a bottle, what if you were telling yourself that you're going to write 100 lives this year? It's really the same mental process.
Break his finger off.
Sometimes they do. Jim, I don't want you breaking your finger off. Just relax. Everything's okay. There you go. There you go. Round of applause for Jimmy there. I got to wrap this up. I'm out of time. Any questions at all? You are so good. Sleep, way down deep, way down deep, way down. Sleep, way down deep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep asleep, loose sleep, deep sleep, deep, 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 deep. Excellent, excellent. John, sleep, way down deep. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Deep asleep. Excellent. Deeper and deeper and deeper. Beautiful. Now I'm going to do two things. First thing I'm going to do, folks, I want you all to listen very carefully. I'm going to remove all the suggestions that I gave you while you were up here. Well, I'm going to count back from 3 to 1. When I reach number 1, every suggestion I gave to you about things being stuck or not being able to do anything or your shoe, answering the phone, etc., everything's going to go back to normal, but you'll still be very, very deeply hypnotized. But all the suggestions I gave you erased, still very deeply hypnotized. 3, those suggestions, everything's going back to normal. 2, but still very, very, very deeply hypnotized. 3, 2, and 1. Now, sleep, 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 sleep. Everything's back to normal. Deep, 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 sleep, sleep. Okay. What I'm going to say next is the most important thing of the whole day. So please, listen carefully because it really, really, really is the most important thing. From this moment forward, you and you alone are in total control of this state of mind that you are in right now. You completely control this state of mind from this moment forward. Here's what that means. That means that in the future, you're going to find that if you want to, and when you want to, you're going to be able to drift back into this wonderful, deep relaxation very, very easily, very, very quickly. And here's how you can do it. You can pick a spot to look at wherever you are. You can remember how you're feeling right now. You can start slowly counting back in your mind from 5 to 1. And with each slow number you count, by the time you reach number 1, your eyes will be closed, your body will be even more deeply relaxed than it is right now. And when you're there, here's the best part. You're going to be able to give yourself any helpful, productive suggestions you wish. You're going to be able to give yourself any suggestions you wish that are helpful. And the suggestions you give to yourself are going to be every bit as powerful as any suggestions that I could ever possibly give to you. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 5. When I awaken, you will awaken feeling rested and refreshed and invigorated. You're going to feel better than you felt in weeks. Your thoughts will be clear, sharp, focused, and precise. You'll be in complete, total control, feeling wonderful at the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wide awake, sitting straight in the chair, eyes wide open, feeling wonderful, and a round of applause for these folks. You made me a star. Is your neck clear today? A little bit? Don't go away if it doesn't come see me. How y'all doing? Alexandra, do you ever think you could be hypnotized?
No.
Madam, ever think it could happen?
Not awake, no.
I'm not sure I understand that, but you didn't think you could do it, though, huh? Jim, you had said to me, come to me earlier today and said that you would like to experience it. Is it everything you thought it would be?
I feel really calm.
But you don't still really don't feel hypnotized, do you?
Not really. No.
Yeah, I know. Most people feel that way. Wait. More and more relaxed. In a moment, at the count of 5, eyes are open. And number 5, count of 5, eyes are open at the count of 5. You'll discover you've erased the number 7. Number 7's erased your mind. Can't remember the number 7 until I touch your forehead. Number 7's gone. At the count of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, wide awake. Okay. So I know a lot of people like yourself who think hypnosis is going to be something that it really isn't. And maybe you were hypnotized, maybe you weren't. But can you answer a question for me?
Sure.
How much is 5 plus 2?
6.
How much is 6 plus 1? I'll tell you what, do me a favor. Do you know how to count from 1 to 10? Would you count out loud from 1 to 10 for me?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Hands up. Out loud. Okay, out loud. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. 11.
How many fingers?
There's 10.
Let's do it again.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Write that a different number. How much is 6 plus 1? 4 plus 3?
6.
3 plus 3?
6.
So how can 3 plus 3 and 4 plus 3 be 6?
Oh.
Still don't think you're hypnotized, do you, Jim?
No.
Touch your forehead, the number comes back. 5 plus 2 is?
7.
And of course. Give me a round of applause. You're a phenomenal subject. Hey, I've gone beyond my time, but I'd be happy to stay after and answer individual questions. Does anybody have a question for the group right now? Because I do want to summate. I want to tie up everything that I have tried to do so far this afternoon and then get the heck out of here, get you guys out of here. What you have seen, obviously, are people who have been able to focus their attention, embed information into their subconscious mind, and program themselves. If they would use this same technique to program themselves in a positive way, if they would spend a few minutes each day getting back in that state and visualizing NBOT or conference or 100 lives or 2 appointments a day and 2 apps each day, it's amazing how powerful it can be done over a period of time. So I've tried today to show you as much hardcore information as I can, wrap it around some messages. The political stuff went off the track a little bit, but I did want to emphasize the concept of you encapsulating your communication skills, and now you've seen the self-hypnosis. I am local. I live in Melbourne and have for years. This is a screenshot of a webinar that I'm going to do on apparently the 29th of August, and the website is insurancewebex.com. If you want to sit on that, it's totally free, but I'm going to do an hour-long webinar on the 29th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon for insurancewebex.com. You're welcome to tune in if you like. You just go to that thing and you sign up for it and you're in. Also, I do personal coaching. I've been doing quite a bit of that in the last 3 years. If you would like to do individual or personal or executive coaching, I have 4 spots open. Normally, my fee is $2,000 a month. For Kyle, obviously, I'd be willing to discount that significantly. I'll bring it down to $1,000 a month. I ask if you do it that you commit to 3 months, because you usually don't see results instantly. You know, it's over a period of time. But if you would like to do individual or personal or executive coaching, just come and see me. I'll give you a card. We'll connect on the phone, make it happen. If not, that's fine too. I want to take a moment and thank everyone. I want to thank you guys. You're a very, very fun audience. I got to thank Kyle. I love this guy. You know, he's really, really an amazing partner, a managing partner, and you guys should be proud to have him. And